Boxing fans in the house. Guys, wherever you are, let's do our check-ins. It's our first live stream of the day, 6:30 a.m. Already had 2 sessions. I had a new online client, a live stream client. My 5 a.m. was his 3 p.m. He's from Cleveland, Ohio. And then I just did a 5:45 a.m. live stream mobility session with a client who's 63. I've been coaching him for 7 years. He lives near the mountains in southern Australia. And now I'm with the boys. First live stream of the day. We're gonna go 2 times today as we've been doing. And I'm uploading Xander versus Chino. I'm sold on who my pick is after yesterday with a lot of help from you guys, a lot of in and out questioning. I know what the point of difference is, why I'm leaning on who I'm leaning on. Xander, yeah, more athletic, more explosive. Chino does have a path to victory. We'll get to that in a second. But I'm all in on Xander. I also posted my first lock of the week. It's in the Johnny Says Boxing Insider group right now. It's on YouTube, the community section. Only you boys with blue stars could see it. And I also posted it in our Discord group. So boys, if you're unaware, everybody who's signed up Johnny Says Boxing Insider on YouTube, you guys get access to the Discord. That link is on YouTube. Only you guys will be in there. It's a community we're building. We started that due to you guys asking me. So I'm new to it. I started 3 days ago. It's growing day by day. I'm basically taking your sort of what you guys want, and I do it. Also, GOAT, I want to let you know, I want to know, a boxing fan. Yesterday, I was practicing my software, so I know how to do the share screen now. The problem is, you guys brought it up yesterday on our live stream. How come you don't use share screen so you guys could see the sports betting apps? You guys could see the screen I'm talking about, because as of now, I'm using my iPhone, and I do have a laptop. So I understand how to use it. It's pretty straightforward. The problem is the Mac I could have done it today, but I'm going to tell you the issue. Right now, I'm streaming on the newest version of the iPhone, right? And it's clear, it's crystal, the camera, the audio, it's all good. The Mac that I have, now, I don't use my Mac for anything other than editing. There's no apps on the Mac. There's nothing. There's just my Adobe editor. So I edit my Stats Don't Lie videos. And then when I shoot interviews with fighters, retired fighters, documentaries, I use it to edit. But there's nothing stored on there, so it's free, right? The issue is that was bought for me from the guy who invested into my first documentary, along with some awesome film equipment. Now, that was in 2020. So when I'm live streaming, I was practicing the software yesterday. 2020 doesn't seem like long ago, but it was a half a decade. So I'm kind of particular in the optic of what things look like. Because it's a Mac from 2020, the camera, it's not as clear as this. And so I'll test it in my second live stream today, but I'm not happy with what it looks like. So if anything, in the next week or so, I'm just going to buy a new Mac, a brand new one, which should have the crystal clear camera, that sort of thing. But I'll show you what I mean on the second live stream. It just doesn't look as clear as this. And we'll see if that matters to you guys. But either way, wherever you're tuning in, like this video, subscribe. Like I said, we're building community here and on Discord. If you want our lock of the week, if you want a lot of the betting advice that we're giving specifically on how to bet, if you want just to join the community, a couple bucks a month, hit the link in the pinned comment. Johnny Says Boxing Insider. And let's get into this. Guys, I also want to mention there's some breaking news. There's some breaking news all around the game. Yeah, GOAT. I've been trialing and error, for the last few weeks though. So just so you know, I'm hustling. Did you see the video of Dubois having a party? Dara, what's up, buddy? I didn't see it. Boxing fan. It's all about growth. What's up, DJ? Wherever you guys are, appreciate the check-ins. Josh Taylor retired. Did you guys get that news? I shared it in our group. Scotland. Scotland's favorite son, Scotland. Josh Taylor retired. That kind of is a bittersweet thing. We'll see I think he's 36, probably, or 34, 35, 36. He probably should stay retired. I guess it was due to an eye injury. Boxing is a brutal sport, and it's in order to make a run to the top, you know, you got to be talented, but you have to be a bit reckless. Ron Boy, just want to let you know, the editing side for Unk, it's going to take me a while because I'm just, there's a lot of decision making on my end how I'm telling that story. So you're the only one who knows what I'm talking about here. I'm putting together a story, so it's going to take me a while. Probably give me another week or so. I should have it up. And before I make it public, I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to send Luke a link so you guys can kind of look at it and see what you think of it. But his story is amazing. Guys, we're talking about Anthony Mundine's father, Tony Mundine. We sat down with him this past weekend in Sydney at a little coffee shop he's been going to for decades. And to pick this man's brain, to pick this, if you're like me, if you boys are out there like myself who are, you know, at a stage of your life where you're really interested in either developing your mind, developing your body, just learning sort of knowledge, you would be inspired by an elder, somebody who's older than you. So for me specifically, when I meet men, you know, either in the public eye who've done great things or just, you know, have done great things within their family, maybe they're a great father, whatever it is, and they're older, you know, these are the people I want to learn from. So this is who we're talking about. Tony Mundine, 73, 74 years old, Australian Boxing Hall of Famer. In my opinion, you know, one of the greatest. When you look at his resume, it's insane. Go to his box rec. Like I talked about it last week. You know, he was a teenager when he filled a stadium in Melbourne against Mahunga, and the Australian media, the boxing community still talks about it. It was dubbed the Indigenous boxer versus the Maori. One from Australia, one from New Zealand. He was 19. He had only been boxing for less than 2 years. And so he double-ended on that as a 19-year-old, and within the next few years, he fought Carlos Monzon, Emil Griffith, Benny Briscoe, the biggest names in middleweight history, all within a short amount of time, having zero boxing experience, no coach. So anyway, I'm going to be editing that. I sat down, interviewed him. We're going to be putting that together soon. How crazy was it that he was going in most of his fights blind on it? Yeah. It was a different time back then too. No footage to watch his opponents. He was telling us. So Ron was with me in the chat. He was with me, and he's related to Tony. Brock Murtazaev has been ordered to defend his IBF. Yep. So Murtazaev has been ordered. Dara, we'll see if that happens. We'll see if Murtazaev and Lubin happens. I hope it happens. Edgar Valdez in the house. So yeah, we'll see if Murtazaev versus Lubin happens. We'll see if. There's some other fights. Rumor was that Serhii Boacek turned down a fight with Boots. I don't know how true that is. I want to put a bookend on Tony Mundine, though. So, yeah, we sat down with him, picked his brain for, 2 hours. I only had the camera running for 15 minutes. So I got, give me a week or so. Those of you who are waiting for that, I'm going to release it on the channel. But, yeah, it's an amazing story to tell. So I'm excited about it. But moving forward, a lot of stuff in boxing to get into. Like I said, I'm uploading right now as we speak. It's rendering on my app the Xander Zayas versus Chino Garcia fight. Dara Foley, I don't think that's Dara Foley. Is it? Dara's a beast. I remember Dara from Bondi Boxing. Who's your favorite person you've interviewed? Favorite person or favorite fighter, GOAT? I've been interviewing people in a professional context since 2015. So, GOAT, are we talking favorite fighter that I've interviewed or favorite, just all-time favorite interview? It's a good question. West, GOAT. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight. Favorite fighter of all time. There's a story behind it. So, if you look at, the list of fighters I've interviewed, everybody, George Foreman was amazing. Larry Holmes was amazing. Evander was amazing. Costa Tszyu, Boom Boom Mancini. I interviewed Stipe Miocic when he was the UFC champ. But all of those were via Zoom, via Skype. At the time, this was pre-pandemic, so everybody was using Skype, not Zoom. But it was over the video. In 2017, I'm reaching out to Hois Gracie. And Hois, if you guys is a legend. Hois Gracie, he was the one who represented the Gracie family. UFC 1, November 11th, 1993 in Colorado. This was the first time that the world got to see which martial art was the baddest in a tournament. UFC won, and boxing, we were represented by a boxer named Art Jimerson. Art is the guy who famously wore one boxing glove on his left hand and was bare knuckle on the right. We had in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was represented by Hois Gracie. So we know how that story went. Hois ended up winning UFC 1 and 2 and 4. I think 3 he was exhausted. And this was in the day and age where it was a one-night winner stay on tournament. So you had to fight multiple times in a night, no weight classes, pretty much no rules, that sort of thing. There were groin strikes at the time. There were soccer kicks. It was the Wild West. Okay, so Hois, for the first time in the world got to see this skinny Brazilian dude in a gi choking everybody out. People were like, what the hell is going on? So I remember watching that as an 11-year-old. I didn't watch it live. We had to get the VHS tapes from the movie store. So that was my first sort of introduction to Hois Gracie. A couple years pass, and his father, Helio, was being interviewed. So Helio Gracie was the father. He had 9 sons. Helio, in the late 1930s, as a gift from the Japanese emperor, was taught Japanese jiu-jitsu. But Helio was too small to do the submissions. So Helio put on a robe, and he would use the length of the robe and the collar to put in the submissions. So this is how Brazilian jiu-jitsu got started. And we know Helio had a lot of sons. And so after years had passed, after UFC 1, he was asked, why did you pick Hois to represent Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in UFC? He said, because if I put Rickson in there, so Rickson was the best. Rickson Gracie, physically, athletically, strength-wise, Rickson was the dog. And Helio said, if we would have put Rickson in there, and that would have been the world's first introduction to BJJ, people would have just said, it's not about the art. It's not the art that works. It's because Rickson is such a good athlete. So we took we took Hois because he was smaller and he looked less imposing. And this is why they picked Hois. So moving forward to 2017, I'm on Hois's Instagram, and he's doing a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu gym tour in Australia. And I reach out to him on Instagram, never responds to me. 8 months pass. I'm at this bar in Sydney in the CBD called Ryan's Bar. If you guys are from Sydney, you would know this. Right on George Street, right by my old gym, right behind this bar called The Establishment. There's a bar called Ryan's Bar. It's outside. And I get an Instagram notification. This was 8 months after I asked Hois. It was Hois Gracie, and he messaged me, and he said, hey, mate, is offer still on the table? I'll be at this gym tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I'm hammered. And I'm like, what? Get real excited, and I set it up. The next morning, I'm hungover. I drive out. I think it was somewhere in Bankstown. And I'm at this gym. I'm there early, and he pulls up, and I watch him get out of the car. And this dude is already in his gi. He's getting ready for a seminar at 11 a.m. at this gym, but it's 9 a.m. He's going to do my interview. He's already in his gi with like 7 people with him. Gets out of his car, and he literally is floating. He's literally walking. So I'm watching everything. I'm like, reading the dude. I was like, this guy's a living legend. Let's see if he really is like that. And he's like floating, dude. It's insane. Says hello to me. We shake hands. We walk up the stairs to the gym. There's an octagon. There's a big room with mats. And then in another room, there's an octagon. And he was like, let's do the interview in the octagon. So this is my first ever in-person interview. Everything up into this, I was doing it via video or over the phone, getting ready to write my first book. And we take our shoes off. I'd never been in an octagon before. I'm a boxer. Take the shoes off. We're in an octagon. I don't have my notes in front of me because I'm used to having my notes. And we're standing in the octagon. That's how I did the interview. So long story, Hois Gracie. He's in my first book. I think he's chapter 3. So yeah, that was I'm telling the story. Blue Collar Goat asked me what was my favorite interview. It was a long story. Hois Gracie. That's why though. Because it was the first one I did in person. 15 minutes in, guys. Hopefully I answered your question. We got a lot to talk about though. Let's get into boxing. We got our picks. I gave you guys my lock of the week. Appreciate you. I gave you guys my the first lock of the week is up in our members only section. And it's a 5-leg paying $1.87, I think. And I really like that bet. So, but we have Xander Zayas versus Garcia. They just, are you guys getting the option to bet on the Manny Flores, Jorge Chavez? There's a Friday night card. That's going to be a great fight. The whole card is pretty fun. So my book opened it up. It's a Golden Boy card in fantasy. It's in Indio, California. Yeah. So Ron, this is who I can. So after I interviewed Tony Mundine, I called Luke, and Ron and Luke were with me this past weekend, and Tony had that same aura, because this past weekend, right before the Tony Mundine interview, we're parked by this coffee shop, and Tony's already walking down, and that's how I met him, and he was floating. There's something about living legend, combat sports legends, dude. They have this aura about them where it's not about impressing anybody. They've already done it. So 2 different cards, Eister. Yeah, the card I'm talking about, boys, Manny Flores is headlining versus Jorge Chavez. Grant Flores is on the card. Yeah, I really like Manny Flores versus Jorge Chavez if we're talking about a fight to where we're putting on a card. I know. I'm a Julius Armstrong. I'm a fan of Chino. So we're talking about Chino Garcia. He's coming off the biggest win of his career. Appreciate you, Breaking Bad Boxing. It's in my first book. The first book I wrote is called Ungoogleable. Excellent. Yeah, so my first published book was called Ungoogleable, and it's 10 chapters of stories like that. It's all good, man. So yeah, Chino. So Caden Griffith's fighting on that card. He's always fun to watch. Oh, so there's 2 cards. Caden Griffiths. Yeah, we just saw him fight. He's a young teenager, right? Just got a stoppage. Yeah, he's fun to watch. 5 wins, 5 knockouts. Is he on the card? I don't see it. Nothing on his BoxRec yet. Caden Griffiths. I don't know if BoxRec's updated. I don't see it. What's the card Griffiths is on? Zerto's injured. Josh Taylor retired. I also want to give a shout out from a content creator perspective, guys. So, like, I don't know whether you're new to the channel or, I mean, some of you guys didn't even know that story about Gracie that I just went into. But I started interviewing and podcasting in 2015. My first podcast in Australia was 2015 called the Vision Board Podcast. I did that up until 2018, and in 2018, I started another podcast called Ungoogleable, okay? And I did Ungoogleable up until 2020, and then I did a documentary on an ancient martial art called Lethwei, bare knuckle, where the headbutt is legal. My point is, in one form or another, I've been doing this for over a decade, breaking down fights, interviewing fighters. I was brought to my first fight gym when I was 7, so I'm 43 now. My point is, from your favorite content creator, combat sports, you never know what they're struggling with, because there's a dude that I just found out about a month ago. I don't know if you guys follow Punch Perfect Boxing, but the dude's a beast. Like, I just found out about him. So I watch Punch Perfect's boxing breakdowns. He does a really good job. And he just announced today that he's done. He's not doing anymore. He's burned out, basically. And it just had me thinking, I'm like, this kid should have like 1 million subs. You know what I mean? He should have 1 million subs. He's that good. Punch Perfect is a beast, dude. And he only has about 9,000 subs. And I think he's a bit younger. And I think that just kind of got to him. I don't know. I don't want to speak for him. But I found out this morning that he's not doing it anymore. And it kind of bummed me out a bit. Only because he's really good at it. And a couple of my friends since 2015 have stopped because it's a grind. Like, if your heart or your intention isn't into, my point is, whatever you're doing, if your intention isn't in it for the right reasons, it's a tough move. Yeah, go to his YouTube, but he's done doing it. He's a beast. He does these breakdowns, dude, and he's like, I watch his breakdowns, I'm like, shit, I gotta step my game up when I'm doing my Stats Don't Lie videos. And so my point is, there's content creators in the boxing space who may have 300,000, 400,000. Doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. And there's content creators who have 2,000, and it doesn't mean that they don't know what they're talking about. Like, some of my favorite people I listen to have way less than I have. So my point is, yeah, you never know what somebody's going through. Hopefully that dude's all right. I was shocked. I read the message. I was like, what, dude? What are you talking about? He was like one of the only guys that I would listen to. But anyway, a lot of fights to talk about. I know that, I don't know what freebies are. You're getting freebies right now, Bauer. I give you 2 live streams a day. Not the first time. Okay, so he goes back. It has to be a mind thing that announcing a retirement is crazy work, by the way. Appreciate you, boxing fan. Could you imagine it? I'm not laughing at him, but my boy, I used to do a live MMA live stream gambling show on Instagram with a journalist from Washington, D.C. So this was during the pandemic. From 2020 to 2022, we do a live stream. It was called Easy. Actually, this is the hoodie. Easy Money. Scared money don't make money. And my boy, who's an MMA journalist, same thing, man. He just got to 10,000 subs on YouTube like 2 months ago, and then he just quit. But yeah, it just makes you think. It's a grind out there, you know what I mean? So whatever you never know what somebody's going through, whether they're online or in your own personal life. So don't be too hard on people. But yeah, we got there's a lot of fights coming up. There's a lot of fights to break down. Like I said, I was kind of torn between Chino and Xander. I don't see Xander losing. It's going to be a great fight. Hopefully Xander manages his gas tank properly. Hopefully Xander doesn't underestimate Chino. Julius, there's 2 cars on the zone. Yeah, so some of you guys were asking for freebies. I mean, pretty much 2 live streams a day. The Stats Don't Lie videos. I don't know what else you guys want from me. All I ask for you is if you could subscribe, if you could join our channel. It's a couple bucks a month. Then you'll get all the other bet slips. But I think I give you guys a lot. But that's what I'm here for. So guys, we have about 45 in right now. Let's like this video. Ron Boy, Unk got a glow for sure. I look at him. Oh yeah, Ron, Unk special, mate. I could go down to the coffee shop. I could go down to the coffee shop and hang out with Unk every weekend, bro. Let's answer Pedro Cabrales' question real quick. What are some advantages Xander has on Chino? Pedro, the biggest advantages Xander has on Chino is going to be his speed, athleticism, explosivity, and his sharpness with his punches. But then, you know, these are things that Chino probably comes into a lot of fights lacking. But the best thing about Chino Garcia, Jorge Chino Garcia Perez, I just go by his Instagram tag, Jorge Garcia, is his ability to match his opponent. That's something you can't teach. That's more of an instinctual thing. It's a gift that Chino could do. He takes what his opponent gives him and he's able to adapt on the spot. Not the quickest kid, doesn't have the best pop. He's gritty. He's never been stopped. I don't even know if he's ever been dropped. And I did the whole film study on him. The only fight that I saw him really losing was a decision against Carlos Ocampo in 2020. He has 3 other close decision losses that could have definitely... He could be 36-1, 100%. At 28 years old, he could be 36-1. He's never been stopped. I don't know if he's ever been dropped. Coming off the biggest win of his career against Conwell. This kid could be a champion. Chino Gar, don't sleep on him, mate. This Mexican engine... And we've seen Xander, I don't want to say struggle with his gas tank, but, you know, he's a bit muscular. I don't know. It's a tough fight, but I'm leaning on it's a 22-year-old and a 28-year-old. Put it this way. If Xander wins, guys, this is for the vacant WBO world title, WBO. So if Xander wins, he will become the youngest male champion. Currently, the youngest male champion is Brian Norman Jr., and then you got Bam Rodriguez. BNJ is 24. Bam is 25. Xander's only 22. In a division like 154, like I said, Xander's a big dude. Yeah, I don't see Xander stopping Chino. And Chino's tricky. Chino's a real veteran at 28 years old. Yeah, DJ, I know. Like my whole goal with my channel is to always give both sides to every story, just so you guys know if you're new to the channel. I think Xander by decision is where I'm leaning. Sosa from RGBA says Xander don't crack. I mean, what else is Sosa from Garcia's camp going to say, though? Teao going to be the youngest champ this year. Yeah, I think that's for a vacant title against Noakes. Yeah. And guys, Chino goes into every fight as the B side, too. It's something to think about. Wonka, I love that prop. Yeah, I don't see... I don't see either guy getting dropped. I see the fight going the distance. I don't see either guy getting dropped. I'm not getting props on it. But those, if I do get props, I would get that. I would definitely lean on that. Guys, wherever you are, let's like this video. Hit subscribe. Join our insider group. The link's pinned in the comment section below. Let's check our book. Sosa got schooled by Xander. Yeah, I mean, guys, you know it's boxing. When these are young athletes in the prime of their life, and they are talking about former opponents or guys that they're competing with, he's not going to give Xander a compliment. You could see him stop him. You could see Chino getting stopped. Okay. It's tough for me to see things that haven't happened. Eister, same, but, you know, he fought Ocampo 5 years ago. And I think Ocampo at the time was undefeated. 100, yo, Ron, 100% I want to interview CJ. Yeah, let's set that up, Ron. Let's set that up. I want to talk to CJ. I'll message you. D. Reyes. Guys, are you getting props on the Zayas fight already? Yeah, Conwell, I mean, I think the biggest take-home point for me with Charles Conwell was the lack of, he wasn't hiding his entrances. You know, he would go from range and he would have the same entry every single time. And after the very first exchange, Chino picked up on that and would just stay on the ropes. He'd slip it, and then Conwell would smother his work, and then Conwell would get stuck in Chino's guard the whole rest of the round while Chino's using the ropes to counter and not get hit. He was very slick. I was really impressed with how slick he was. Okay, Manny Flores. I like Manny. So we're building. I like Manny Flores. So I'm trying to find. Yeah, there's money this week, boys. Rohan Polanco, Jan Santana. Pedro, I agree. Boys, there's money. There's money this weekend. Okay, I got some. They released some props. Will the fight go the distance? $136. I mean, here's a good hedge bet for you guys. If you're torn on who wins between Chino and Xander, if you're torn, take will the fight go the distance? Because if you take Xander on money line, he's $1.31. If you take will the fight go the distance, it's $1.36. Yeah, Conwell's had some. I'm more interested to see what he looks like in his next fight. I like that blue collar. I like that a lot. Polanco. So yeah, right now, guys, just for the sake of some numbers, if you guys have your apps, I like Manny Flores, mate, over Jorge Chavez. Manny Flores is fighting Friday night. He's $1.29. I'm not going to get fancy. I like him to beat Jorge Chavez. I think that's great value on the money line. So just for, if you take Flores on the money line, Carlos Santana on the money line, Polanco on the money line. I mean, Clarissa Shields is going to win that fight. Yeah, you're already in plus money, and you throw Xander on that. I'm gonna share that one with you guys. There's a 6-legger I like. You think it's a 50-50, Flores versus Chavez? Interesting. You think that's a? I don't think that's a 50-50. Go on. I want to hear the follow-up point. He's from TJ. I love Shushu, but Mr. Reed, I'm not getting any value on Bruce right now. He's $1.01 on my book. Meaning you throw Bruce on there on the money line, you get on 100 on Bruce, you get $1 back. So every time Bruce fights, I feature him. I'm a fan of Bruce. And I think this is for an interim belt, isn't it? Yeah, so he wins this. This is for the interim WBC. Money Meach now is over 11.5. Yeah. What is the point, right? They try to get you boys. See, the book is getting clever on trying to get people to overthink. How about the distance for Bruce? Let's see if I could get that right now. On my sports bet, on my book down here, when guys are such big favorites, they usually won't give you the option for a method of victory. Yeah. Right now, I'm only getting money line on Bruce versus Hayata. Bruce should stop Hayata. No, like, I mean, he's a tough African fighter. He could punch. But we know, I mean, Bruce has a lot of class to his game. Shushu, he has that a nice pedigree to him, the last thing you want at 126 is a confident champion Bruce Shushu Carrington. You know what I'm saying? And that's a compliment. So I think that he's going to level up this fight. He should stop this guy. I've watched the tape on Hayata. I think that pressure, he's going to be looking for that one shot. I think Carrington should get him out of there. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get props. I don't even have Emiliano isn't even on my, I'm not even getting options to bet on Emiliano right now. I like how they've been moving Emiliano, to be honest with you. Clarissa Shields should be a lock. Polanco, Santana, Steven Navarro's fighting. Yeah, what I'm going to do this weekend, I think, my goal this weekend is not to get fancy. I know you guys always ask for method of victories, and I'll give you a method of victory parlay at the end of the week. But just so you know, when I go heavy on my picks, those are usually my locks. So I usually go heavy on like $1.80, $1.70. The method of victory is getting cute, getting fancier, a little bit tough, obviously, but that's risk versus reward, and that's the game that we play. To answer your question, you asked about. There's a fight you just asked about. Mr. Reed in the house. Appreciate you. Mr. Reed, you're going to have access to our Discord now, and then the Discord is all the VIPs, and you're going to be able to pick the brain on a lot of these boxing minds because it's not just me. Garner versus Bilotti. Yeah, it is. Julius Armstrong. Julius, you were the one talking me out of Tim Tszyu, right? I think I owe you a fist dap. Were you the one last week saying that you're trying to talk me out of Tszyu or no? Somebody just asked me. So Elijah Pierce, Desmarinas is fighting. There's some good fights, guys. We're gonna. Somebody just asked me about a fight going up in 2 weeks. What fight was that? Yeah, Dura, 100% Dara. Garner Belotti's next. Appreciate you, Mr. E. Yeah, Julius Armstrong. Should have listened. Okay, GOAT's keeping me in line. Oscar Duerte, Kenneth Sims Jr. That fight's in a couple weeks. That's a dog fight. I can't wait for that fight. In order for me to give my exact prediction, I can't because we have so many fights in front of us. You know what I'm saying? So if you're new to the channel, I have to stay focused week to week. I mean, we got fights already coming up on Friday in Indio, California. And then, but I can't wait to see Duerte and Kenneth Sims Jr. Dude, don't sleep on Kenneth Sims. But, man, Oscar Duerte looks totally different from what he looked like against Garcia. In a good way. And I thought he was going to be a one-and-done guy. You know how there's guys who come along and they get featured on a card or featured in a big fight, and it's the commentators say it all the time. It's their one opportunity to shine. They don't make the most of their opportunity, and then they fizzle, and you don't see them. Duarte wasn't that guy. Duarte's fought since then, and he's won every fight. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a dog fight. I don't have the odds yet, but I like Kenneth Sims Jr. a lot. It's a good fight. Like I'm glad we're getting these matchups. Brian Norman Jr. versus Haney. I can't wait for that fight. I'm a huge Norman Jr. fan. I've been a fan of Brian Norman Jr. I've been a fan of Devin Haney. We'll see when we get there. It's November. Fingers crossed the boys stay healthy. Elijah Pierce. I have Elijah winning. Elijah should win that fight. He's fighting Des Marinas. He should take some things from that fight. Des Marinas isn't going to be a pushover. Cruzo Bauer, what's up, buddy? Yeah, and this is why I've been high on Robert Garcia, RGBA since my buddy Kelly fought. I bring that up all the time. Pavlik left Jack Lowe after the Sergio fight, and then Pavlik finished his career doing the end of his camps out in California with Garcia. That camp. And every time a fighter who goes to that camp, they always come out at least a better body puncher. And the reason why I love the fighters who come out of Garcia's camp is the investment into the body. Virgil, Bam. I got Elijah winning this fight. Japanese card on the 30th, 3 world. I love the Japanese cards. Damn, what am I missing? You guys are on a fire right now. He's ripped and ready. Blue collar. Sims didn't look good in his last fight against Kendo. Did he fight Kendo Tremendo? Or Castaneda? That was my heart. But blue collar, don't you dare bet with your heart. You know the rule, boys. Boys, never bet with your heart. Always bet with your wallet. Bet Sims if you like burning money. Yeah. I think Duarte can make a run. I think Duarte has it in him to make a run. I mean, he ticks all the boxes lately. I don't want to... What I'm about to say is going to be controversial. But look what Duarte looked like. Does anybody question if Duarte might be on something? And I mean, he's young and he's super fit, dude. Like Oscar Duarte to me has leveled up everywhere, and I'm kind of gun shy. I have PTSD from lately with in our sport. You know, everything what happened with Francisco Rodriguez Jr., everything what happened with Amon Khatiev, everything that's happening with Jaime Munguia. Do you know what I'm saying? So I kind of now in the back of my head, I never used to be like this. I always get fighters now it's like, oh, that's something I have to think about now. I wonder if that dude might be on, because he hasn't only leveled up the optic, but his skill, like his output, everything. He looks like a different dude. I hope to God it's not, but it's something that we have to at least talk about. I don't think he is. Yeah. Oh, DJ. DJ Wild. But he looks. You're just doubting because of Ryan. I'm not doubting him. He's impressed me. He's impressed me. I'm a fan of Duarte. I'm just hoping that we don't get another one of these guess who popped today, Johnny? Or like I wake up and I get a message from you guys. Did you hear who popped? Guess who it was? Because we were spot on with Rodriguez Jr. I called that during that fight, during the live stream, when Galalia 5 was getting that ass beat. And it wasn't anything to do with the physical look of Galal or of Francisco. It was the output, which he always has high output, to be fair. But Francisco Rodriguez was coming off a fight in Texas that they tried wiping from BoxRec, that he won but was flipped to a no contest. I mean, when's the last time you saw a fighter win a fight, it flipped to a no contest for whatever, for any other reason other than ... fill in the blank? And that was the fight before Galal Yafai. And Yafai's camp knew that. Hopefully Duerte is more fun with Mexico. Man, I think Duerte is fun to watch. I'm just hoping for the best for him. He has a big fight coming up. Are you serious, Goat? Tell your white girls about my white girl. I'm part of the reason there's a white world. Rush to the yayo. Kill a cam. 40 minutes in, boys. It's getting, the chat's getting juicy now. Goat's dropping some, we're getting, where's our tinfoil hat at? We got to put that conspiracy hat on now. We're getting out of what, oh, he's trolling. Yeah, good. Everything I've seen with Duerte, everything from him learning another language to his work ethic, he just seems like a kid who's dedicated to the game, you know, and that's what you want to see. You see, and you know what's interesting to see, boys, and this is a statement. Think about, there's younger fighters, you know, Abdullah Mason, Kid Schofield, Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield, younger fighters who are 25 and younger. When you watch how they move in training camps, there's a lot of younger fighters, and those are just two off the top of my head, who are just living in the gym, obsessed with their training, obsessed with the technique. And then that generation, like Ryan Garcia's generation, a little bit older, who kind of like had leaned more into social media. They leaned more into sort of like the optic of what it is to be a famous boxer. And so it's kind of like, I think it's refreshing to see the young bucks coming up who are kind of turning the page on that and kind of grinding more in the gym rather than, that's just what I'm seeing. Because the last thing you want, at least I don't, is a sport filled with people who care about how big their following is on social media rather than if they perfected their jab. You know, there was a time in boxing where I always bring up James Toney. Being able to fight in the clinch was sort of a necessity. Being able to shoulder roll, being able to fight, be able to catch and counter, being able to, you know, fight in the phone booth. Now it's like when we see it, we get impressed. Like when we see Roach catching Tank and countering him, we get it. There was a time where like that skill would be refined in the gym in your camp. Body punching, another one you don't see. It's kind of like these lost arts within the craft. I don't know if it's a coaching thing or if fighters have just kind of, there's certain levels to the game that you start to see that you disappear. Not everybody has anymore. What's up, Koki? I don't know what that means. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. Mr. Reed, I gotta learn the Discord. I'm kind of, Mr. Reed's 84. See, this is why I love my channel. Guys, welcome Mr. Reed to the club. He's 84. He's gonna learn Discord. Mr. Reed, you're gonna go to the Discord. You're gonna have all these boxing heads in there. Yeah, the young guns. Haney hasn't fought a 20-year-old boxer in 6 years. I wanna go heavy on it. Yeah, we got some good fights coming up. I appreciate you, Koki. Yeah, I knew you were complimenting me. Yeah, this is, dude, I knew there were people out there like me who really are interested in the boxing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about drama, dude. Like, I'm too old for that. I mean, at this stage of the game, I want to see, okay, Mr. Reed, you're not 84? I'm older than you, baby. All right, no, you were born in 84. I was born in 82. Okay, so we're same age. I thought you said you're 84 years old. Haney should avoid Brian Norman Jr. Yeah, Kane in the house, Australia. Mr. Reed, you know why I thought 84 is because I just got done interviewing a boxer who was 74. So I think that's in my brain still. This past weekend, I sat down with Tony Mundine, a legend in Australia boxing, and he was 74, super fit, trains every day. Yeah, so I'm 1982. What you felt like you kept young mentally? Johnny, what you felt like you kept young mentally? Yeah, so Koki, great question. I made a promise to myself when I was 30, when I moved from Vegas to Australia, that I was just going to develop my whole goal in life is to help myself so I could help others. I'm a coach. Like, what keeps all the lights on, I help people. So people pay me to either get them healthy, keep them healthy, that sort of thing, guide them through their health. Do you put, yeah, so Mr. Reed, go to my channel and there's a playlist called interviews. You could see them, the video interviews. I haven't posted my most recent one, but you'll see, like Joseph Brown, who's a young 18-year-old. Thanks, Koki. Joseph Brown, the prodigy, we just interviewed him. There's a 130-pound fighter who's ranked number 15 in Australia named Jackson John England. He's a recent interview. Jackson fought Jamel Herring a couple years. He just can't get a fight, guys. The problem is, one of my boys, shout out to Jackson Stanley. He's an Aussie. He's one of these guys. I think he works for Fight Hype, and he travels to all the fights and he uses his camera and he kind of, they call him like a rogue reporter. You never see his face. But I saw Jackson at the fights Wednesday night in Sydney. And we were talking about how one of the biggest travesties in Australian boxing over the last 5 years was how the mainstream media only focused on Tim and nobody else. Like, at least in Australia, the mainstream media only focused on Tim. They didn't focus on Jai. They didn't focus on Justice. They haven't focused on George. They haven't focused on Liam. They haven't there's a lot of fighters, boys, in both Liams, Pero and Wilson. And so he posted this post after Tim lost to Seb about this exact thing, about the Australian media, is partially responsible with a lot of these fighters having their careers kind of bookended due to the lack of Aussie coverage. Jackson John England is one of those fighters. He only has a few losses. One of those losses is to Liam Wilson in a very close decision that could have gone either way. And then he lost to Paul Fleming, who, if you don't know Paul Fleming, that dude is world class. He just never was able to take off internationally. I think Paul's 27-1, and then Jackson's biggest win was Jamel Herring. But I'm just using him as an example of kind of like, there's a lot of fighters down here. I already know Top Rank about to talk about the PR Mexico boxing route. Money Meech, it's a good rivalry. Come on, Andy Hiroka. I want to see that fight too. Koki, do you think we're going to see Gary Antoine Russell and Subriel Matias? Because when we're talking about unifications, I'd rather see Matias versus GAR than Hiroka versus GAR. Just saying, even though Andy Hiroka could crack. I want to see, because we saw Matias and GAR face off. Matias versus Teao. Who did we just see Teao face? How small was Teao in the face-off with Matias? Unless Matias had heels on, I was shocked. This just happened this past weekend. And you see Subriel and Teofimo, I don't know, it was probably due to a language barrier, but Teofimo, he seemed kind of like taken back by how Matias was kind of flexing on him. Oh, so Subriel is closer to 5. He looked way taller than, how tall is Teao? 5'7"? Teo's athleticism is unbelievable in the ring. Edgar Valdez, Michael Johnson going the distance. So Michael Johnson, he's having an Indian summer, a renaissance. So like I said, I'm friends with his coach, Dr. Corey Peacock, and I messaged him right after. That's 3 in a row for MJ. People were kind of trying to cook me. They were saying Zell Huber was going to stop him. I was like, boy, Michael Johnson made a choice a couple years ago to fight smarter. I think it was after the Josh Emmett loss when he was winning. and he chose to stand with Emmett and got knocked out. It was a brutal knockout. And Michael Johnson's a collegiate wrestler. This is a guy who could grapple. It's just somewhere along the line, he fell in love with the dogfight. He fell in love with his punching power. It happens to wrestlers. You see this happen all the time. Wrestlers who end up turning into big punchers, and then they forget where their bread and butter is, and then they end up getting stopped a few times. I mean, yeah, you see it all the time. It's a blood sport. Teao has to realize Matias spent a year in prison. Look at this comment by Koki. Teao has to realize Matias spent a year in prison, got shot with an AK-47, lost his brother to gun violence. I did not know that. Teao should probably just leave Matias alone. Wow. When did Matias go to prison? Yeah, yeah. I heard last year. I watched the fight there. I'd like your opinion on it. Maybe I had a little bit of interview bias. Sometimes when I interview guys, I could be biased in scoring it. It did go the distance. Rice. So, it is going on 7:30. I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes. Yeah, I think Teo's athleticism would be his feet. Yeah, it's boxing for a reason. I just wish in a perfect world we would take Teofimo Lopez and you would take him to like a monk monastery. I want to take Teofimo Lopez to a Buddhist monk monastery and just have him meditate for 7 days. So they do these silence retreats here in Australia. An hour north of Sydney, there's this beautiful, they call them mountains. They're called the Blue Mountains. But being an American, nothing like real mountain ranges. They call them the Blue Mountains. And they have this 7-day silent retreat. So you just go up there. I've never done it because I would go insane. But I've had friends who've done it and they've come back sort of grounded and kind of changed. Because Teao has all the physical attributes, the athleticism, the mind in the ring. It's just sometimes his mind outside of the ring gets away from him. Yeah, I want to see him in a monk monastery, mate. I want to see him like living like a samurai. Have you guys ever read the Book of Five Rings? Have you guys ever heard of this book? It's not a big book. It's not even a hard read. It was written by a samurai, Musashi, I think in the 16th century. But there's a book written by a samurai called the Book of Five Rings. And it's all about discipline. And it's all about sort of like the practice of living like a samurai. It's really popular in combat sports circles. So every time you see a guy, an athlete like Teao, who just is so gifted, and then you see the shortcomings when it comes to discipline or whatever it is. I don't know him personally. You know, he actually seems like a good dude, believe it or not. He just says some outlandish things, and I don't know how much of that is marketing. Because, you know, I've been hard on him in the past on my channel about how some of the things he said. I don't play that race card stuff. I don't, like, being born in '82, growing up in Northeast Ohio, you know, that whole thing to sell a fight, I don't do all that. I don't got, like Cedric the Entertainer said, I don't got time for all them games, right? So when I see Teao do stuff like that, I question, you know, his discipline. The divorce, okay. I didn't, Barboza definitely didn't look like you. Yeah, I lost money on Arnold. I need to go to a monk place and shit, DJ shit. Now, I need to go to a monk place myself out here. Nothing wrong with that, man. It's good. So you should ground yourself. They will turn Teao. They will turn Teao. So, guys, I got to get to work here. I got to upload Zayas and Garcia. And I appreciate the support. Let's like the channel. Mr. Reed, go on my channel under community section. You'll see the link to the Discord. I'll send you the link to the Discord too if you didn't get it. And stay tuned. I'm going live again today. Stay tuned to the channel. Like, subscribe. I appreciate all the support.